And
Hey.
welcome to the First Time Experience. Live. Okay. All right, got my co-host here, April Williams and Kathy B. All right, then. So as usual, we'll go back to our old format. Welcome, welcome, welcome to 2022. How you feeling? How you doing? Hi, B.
Hey. Happy New Year. We love you. Can you hear me? Is everything all right? All right.
Yes.
Get on
Is it
out of
this
here. There
side?
we go. And it's frozen.
Is it this
Okay,
side?
I forgot. I had to change the setting. I forgot because you don't like with them. Um. So yeah. So how is it? How you be? You know, in this new energy that we have that we're experiencing. There's a lot of stuff I know.
I'm so excited. Do,
Yeah.
do, do,
Yes.
do, do, can't hide it.
Had it. Yes. 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 I wish.
And I think I want to. I want to. Ah.
Yes, yes, feel the excitement, people. Don't worry about the Venus retrograde or whatever, because we know whatever it's doing is bringing out the good stuff. It's helping us to stand into our power. I definitely know it is with me a lot of coming back and visiting childhood stuff that needs to kind of come up that maybe I thought they was handled, but it's just again that needs to really revisit some things about your happiness in the childhood as well, and how you can be able to use those talent skills and abilities with now. I'm also finding myself standing in the power more, as far as just really practicing having a voice to things, literally, in some ways. But use these ideas, these creativities, these spiritual gifts more coming online, not having to work with it. It's more at ease, more of a connection with source. You think of something, like the other day I say I'm worried about it, I don't know how to do it, I surrender to it, and poof, the thing comes. More of a surrendering, understanding I don't have to put that divine masculine energy so much into what I'm doing. I could just say it and leave it. Now, if we could take that and apply that to the little things that we're not even thinking that big, to the things that we truly desire, we would be hitting gold. And that's what they're trying to make. I'm seeing them like we're trying to. They're showing me like a board, like almost a monopoly board. If we could move it to the next step on a piece, to your next board piece, a next square, as far as what you're gaining to, you're going to gain some momentum. That's what they're showing me there. Hey, and so this is where we are.
It is you.
We talked about earlier before we got on here about the ego. This ego again is really gripping on and say, I am not going down without a fight. I understand I'm losing it because we got to move into more so of the unhealthy ego. Because like I've been saying, and I've been really truly learning about these two, the shadow and the light to things, but this ego that's really born from past experiences or born from childhood wounds that is triggering and so protective, like, no, you can't do this, you can't get past me, try it, and the ego that we do need to help to kind of motivate you, like, yeah, you can do this, you got this, girl. And you're like, yeah, you know what, you right, I got this. And that's all I need. I got it from here. Now, don't put no extra on there for no childhood stuff and all this stuff about, well, yeah, you just like your old parent or whatever. Like, don't give me no extra. I got this. Thank you. So, from understanding to using that ego points to help to propel you. But again, it's that part, that shadowy part that's really like, I'm holding on. I will not go down without a fight, that you got to really truly deal with, that's going on now. And it really seeing about how you're seeing things out in the world. I think of now we're seeing how really magnificent that we are. If I take a page from my own life to really see, that I'm really am the ninth wonder of the world, and really owning that and understanding that. And really having an appreciation and moving into it, and still, like we had said before, being unapologetic about it, and which means not from the ego stand, like, I don't apologize, I told you about yourself, so and if you can't accept it, that's your issue. No, it's really about a thing about, that's who I am. I'm still humble in what I am, but I don't owe an explanation behind that as to making you comfortable or making me comfortable in knowing who I am. That's what we're talking about, more so from that place. And I had a meeting the other day, and I had told people that, because I'm a union delegate and everybody knows what's happening in the city of Chicago, what we're kind of fighting for, not going back into the classroom. And so with that, I've been doing some things and meetings with my people, and most of the time, I said at the meeting, because this is mixed company, this is not like me talking to you all spiritually, and I was like, I gotta give myself a pat on the back because I think I did a good job. Not think, I said I did a good job. It kind of like you can hear some people like, she's that. I said, no. I said, you don't understand how much it took me further for me to be even announced that I am that out to mixed company, not the spiritual community. You all get it. But these are just like regular blow Joes to say I am. And that's like, and then after a while, I got texts of people saying, you're doing a darn good job. You're doing this, so to understand that just that movement in owning who I am, who I've came to this far from what 2020 had or 2021 has taught me to own that. This is where we're moving into really understanding in our spiritual DNA. This is who I am. This is good, bad, and ugly, and accepting that instead of really pouncing on ourselves and say we should be better, we should be more perfect from the definition of our parents, from the definition of the world, from whatever, and just really saying, you know what, this is it. This is how I show up in the world. Yes. Am I constantly progressing? What did Sidney Poitier, rest in power, he said that, he said, somebody said that, oh, I heard you're a splendid human being. And he's like, oh, I don't know about everybody will say that. I'm still a work in progress. And so that's again where we are. Is we're still progressing. We're not where we used to be. We're not where we should be, but we sure, have made some strides along the way. So that's my where I am about my energy thing, and I think collectively that's where we are too, is as well, a work in progress. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna pass the mic on to my co-host, whoever wants to take it next, as far as what's happening with you in the energies. Yeah,
I definitely agree with the feeling more reassured, more self assured,
I
um,
like that word.
huge boosts in like confidence and like security. And then actually, I found that there's a little window for me where I'm able to pursue my creative pursuits with like more tangibility. Like I
Mm-hmm.
can actually turn this into something that reinforces stability versus this was you throwing your energy in all kinds of places because, well, I used to throw my energy in all kinds of places because I wasn't sure how to use the creative part to become concrete. And I think Kathy D's mastered how to have the creative be concrete. um, and we're all looking for our windows. Like I did a huge feat this new year for myself, and I came out of the box and was performed singing. So that was really awesome.
And it was
And
beautiful.
thank you. And I'm just gonna get better, and I can feel
Yeah,
it, and it's exciting because it's something that my inner child loves to do and loves to just let her heart out.
Is that
And
still on YouTube so people can see it?
that's what I was
yes,
about.
it's still on my YouTube channel. The Golden Life Unlimited has a YouTube channel, so if you haven't been there yet, go check it out. But the last recording I put out was about New Year's Eve in Hawaii, and I'm like the first 10 minutes in, and then
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you
I'm
need
also
to
dancing.
timestamp that. Hello, Miss Steffi.
Okay, I'll
And
timestamp it.
so people can go right to that, because as beautiful as those children are, that one child that I watched her head, for most of the evening after that.
Oh, okay. Because I was
Stood
moving the
right in
camera
front of,
around.
yes, but it was like, I think it was on a table, and it was a beautiful view of you. It was so, I mean, you could see you, and it was wonderful. And then after you sang and other things were moving around, you could kind of see the DJ because he was up a little bit higher. But it was that kid. It was like
Oh, that's what everybody's talking about. I haven't gone through the whole video yet.
yeah, and I
Um,
was just like, "What? I gotta have," and I wanted to be like, "Move! You're blind. This is my one time for New Year's in
Wait,
Hawaii.
wait,
Hey,
side,
move, kid.
move.
Hey,
well,
you hear me?"
everything about the event was amazing and it came together so apparently not seamlessly. Do you have any idea how many times I thought I was streaming? There was all kinds of stuff that happened, And I found out, oh, what's this say here? Go live, huh? And then I found the button because I'd never done it from my phone or started it from my phone. I've always added onto this group from my phone on location, right? So I'm getting the hang of it. I will definitely be performing again, and the farm themselves, they're going to be having some events the third Saturday. So there's a public event that people can go and watch live music or spoken word and that kind of arts
Oh, Divine
stuff is going to
Sunshine
be
and I will
happening
be
there.
there every third Saturday, right? We'll just,
Yeah.
hop on the red eye and be out there.
There you go.
Hey, the future has a lot of, I can feel the travel in store actually. I feel like there's a
Oh
lot of
yeah, it's
us
coming.
energies coming together. I think we're gonna meet in the desert. We should go. Did you see me at the end where I was dressed like a rainbow leopard? Probably not. It was probably like exhausting
No,
for you.
that was probably about 4 o'clock in the morning for
Sleep
me, and
on
I think at
clock.
that point I had surrendered the kid's head in
I was
one,
like,
and I was
if they make
done.
it, if they made it to my performance, great. You know what I mean? Awesome. I was not expecting anyone to make it through. And with the rain that kept happening, I kept having to move the camera and the whole setup. But
Okay.
my phone and the stand survived.
Just the energy off the
Oh
video.
my God.
So I'm
You
thinking
ain't never lied.
being there, I really think I would have had to just sit down for a moment and just take that in, because the energy coming off of that was just so amazing.
It
And
was.
I mean,
And
through
then,
the, and people, if you don't understand, energy is strong, like we send, to you all and things like that. But to be in person, it's a whole nother wavelength.
And
And
the event was thrown by I see a set of twins that just like are coming to full union, just a couple
oh,
powerhouses. And it was just an amazing, yeah, so all the vibes were there. Then I watched
yeah,
even like other couples
I'm
coming and I was
I'm
just like,
getting
okay.
I'm getting chills again, just thinking about it. I mean,
and,
it was just,
and Jennifer said, I got goosies. I got goosies. Jennifer
or
Lopez.
or Liz from England said, I have chicken skin.
I
Chicken
got goosies
skin.
when they dance. They got goosies. Yeah. Oh, you are moving. Oh, you finally moved,
Woohoo!
yeah.
Woo!
I
Talk
understand.
about New Year's, new starts. Let's
New
go it.
stars, yeah. Once I get my stuff together, I'll share my testimony about mine too. But yeah, oh my God, yes. I'm so glad for many
But
reasons.
so yes, you're okay. Here we
Oh,
go.
Yes.
wonderful.
Bye to the karma
Yay!
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
situation. She's not the karma. She's that thing. Lessons, growing, pains, moves. You say, I got enough of this chapter. Close it up.
Yep.
Next.
You've
And
learned your lesson and acknowledged it and passed the test, and
All
you've
right.
moved
Yeah,
on.
and we saying this at 13, which is death. I seen 13:11 when I said that. Yeah.
it's
Wonderful.
so nice to make it out to the other side when you're like, I stepped into changing this karmatic experience. I stepped off of this loop that I had put myself in, and lesson learned. You know what I mean? It's really nice. And, getting back into reinforcing the unapologetic divinity, right? Unapologetic going with flow. It can be very problematic because parts of your ego, especially the old paradigm stuff, really wanted to get mixed up in that drama.
Right.
But you're like, should I stay or should I go?
Right.
If I go, there will be trouble, but if I stay, there will be double. So let me just go ahead and move to the left on this. And you'll see how things are come together for you. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of kicking myself in and saying, because I did all that, I wrote 3 songs and performed them within a month. Okay. So, all right. Okay. All right. I'm listening. So you can do it. You can get all of your goals that you want to get done. You just have to trust the process. Now, I wasn't forcing this out of ego. This was something this is a passion project. This is an inner child, like yearning, right? And sweet desire. And it's something that I'm naturally good at. And if I can make money off of that, sweet, sweet baby, I will. Right? So,
It's not
and
for the money. This is for the passion. No.
Exactly. Well, it's for the fun. There's an exchange,
Right.
right?
That's what I'm
And I know that this is just honing me as an artist, so I can get even better. And
We both
yeah.
did it at the same time.
That's the fact. Man, I tell you about
Woo!
those. I told you about them powers. It's just automatic. That's how spirit works. No, please.
Oh,
Okay.
13? I thought number 13 was the one. I'll tell you that. That's for sure. It's one of
Yeah.
my favorite numbers. It's just the ultimate change, that shift
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
that
30.
goes back into more
All
pleasure and stuff.
But
right.
that's
I
crazy
like
that our
how she's
address
ringing.
added up to 13.
That's death there. Yeah, that's when I think about moving to houses, I always add up them numbers. Like, what am I moving into? Like my parents' house was a 9, Indian cycles, yeah. This one is, I think it equals up to a 7. So it'd be spiritual completion. That's always why when I'm picking houses, I add up that address real quick. I'm like, this equal up to 13. I want this next.
But I like 13s though. 13s are good for
I
me.
understand that. Yeah,
Yeah, I always liked 13. That was always, everybody always said, oh, 13 was so unlucky. And living in the deep South,
yeah.
there's a lot of superstition, which is that just a whole nother topic for another day.
Yeah, it could be rebirth too as well, because it definitely causes a rebirth. So it
Mhm.
depends on which side you look at it. Again, going back to myself, light and shadow.
It's like the tower versus the what do they call that? The tower versus the opportunity
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
for
Yeah.
change. Well, I forgot. What's the other thing y'all
Well,
call a tower?
there's either you either have the oh no tower,
All
the
right.
aha tower
Well,
moment.
Oh, the
right.
aha.
Those are
That's
the
what I
two.
was
That's what
thinking.
I
The
know
aha
of.
tower moment.
Hmm.
Oh, first act.
We both have 7. Very nice. Yeah, I just added up this house and it's a 3. But now see the house I grew up
4. So both that was the 8 and
in
the
and
1
was
was a
born in
9.
600.
Yeah, 5 and 4 was a 9, and then you added both together again. 9 and 9, 18, which goes back to 9. So it was like,
Mhm.
I've moved almost every year, so I'm not doing that anymore. But
right.
there was a 303 in there. Now I'm in a 202. I'm in a 121 202. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
You know what? The numbers don't mean as much to me like house wise,
Uh-huh.
but the street names.
Yeah,
There's always a connection. I grew up at 600 Ohio.
okay.
And so who would have thought, years later the DM's stepdad is from Ohio.
Oh,
So and then I have so many good friends that went to Ohio State and learning the OHIO, and
right.
all of that kind of stuff. So that had a connection. And then we went from there we moved to we stayed on one street was Railroad Avenue, and that one always reminded me of Monopoly, and I didn't like it. We didn't stay there very long. But the house my parents bought in South Carolina was Society,
Mm,
304 East Society Street.
mm.
And but it actually makes sense because I went from being what they consider in the Florida school systems, um, mentally challenged and educationally slow,
Okay.
to I wound up in all these honors classes. And I was like, they had kind of instilled in me in Florida that I was, dirt, and
Right.
I'm thinking, man, they got to really be slow in South Carolina. But, and then so how our life had changed from struggling to, moving into like society. And then,
Oh, got
um, the first address we had here in Florida was Williamsburg, and we lived in Williamsburg County in South
okay.
Carolina, and now we live on Reflections Loop.
What you say? Oh, and that is really synonymous. I mean, that's got some
Because I've been on that circle for a while.
yeah, loop de loop.
Hmm.
Like a
But
rope.
yeah, so it's the names of the streets for me more so than the numbers.
Okay. Okay. I'm trying to think on that, but okay, on me. Okay, I don't know the connection with that. Kim Bark, Lafayette, and Wabash. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know what that would be.
Oh, Lafayette and Wabash, those are like New Orleans.
Ah,
And what was
So
the first
maybe
one?
yeah, I lived on Lafayette, bought my first condo on Kimberg, and then right now where I'm at is on Wabash.
There's some connection to Louisiana there,
I
and
know.
that would make sense because um, Benita also has a connection to Louisiana, and then we found out that I had a connection to Louisiana in past lives.
Wow.
So
Okay.
April, get with it. You gotta have been there too, girl.
I
Yeah.
had the spirit of Marie Laveau come and visit and work with me for a while. So
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
like,
So there's your
but
connection.
you got to be real. You got to be real careful about that. I mean, the moon came through. It was the most intense. That spirit, that woman, she is awesome. But when
Hmm.
that came through, the full moon was reflected on the mirror, and the mirror light was reflected on the shower. You know, the shower glass or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
and the
with you.
shower glass was shattered. It just shattered because I was just sitting there thinking about like her. Like I kept getting visions of her, and someone then like glass broke or something like that. I can't remember the timing of the sequence, but I shortly either before or after that broke, or I had to have gotten it before, but shortly afterward, the whole thing broke, and it was like she
Oh,
was
wow.
there, and I got like all kinds of I got that spiritual upgrade. When you're just psychic, too psychic for no reason, people are all just like, "Are you magical?" And you're like, "Probably."
But I don't want to talk about it. It's kind of spooky.
Yeah.
Now I
Exactly.
have one of my girls that I do some hypnotherapy and stuff with. She had Papa Ligba,
Oh,
Ligba. I don't
nice.
remember.
Yeah.
Come to
Okay.
her in a dream, and she said that one was pretty intense. And
Yes.
she had gone and played in a softball tournament down in Louisiana, and they had taken a video of her, and she was young. She was like sixth grade, and the ladies with the parasols and stuff, that are dancing through the streets there in New Orleans, and these two women, you see them stop and they turn and they look at her and they grab her hands and they just start dancing, not showing her how to dance. And the next thing you know, she's doing all the dance moves too. And she said it was the craziest thing. She never even knew she knew that dance, but she like loves the go music and all of that. And I was like, oh yeah, there's a connection.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there's a connection. Uh-huh.
Uh, Mimi, are
Confirmation.
you asking who that is, or whoa, as
Who is
in
that?
that's crazy?
Whoa, as in that's crazy because she got a like she used an exclamation mark. But let her
Yeah.
confirm that that's a whoa.
Wow. Get out
Because
there. Yeah.
our love is like whoa.
I'm trying to look at I'm trying to see if one of these pictures I drew over here. Uh okay. Who is that again? Say
Okay.
Marie who
Laveau. I cannot say her name a bunch of times. You understand that?
again? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that she's scary. She's just really powerful, and that power is
And she
very
will come when you
intense.
call.
Because she worked in this
Hmm.
space. She worked in this
Actually,
space.
Oh,
anybody that's ever or a fan of American Horror Story, they did one season down in Louisiana, in New Orleans, and they did an epic. And when I say an epic, a beautiful, beautiful job of portraying Marie
okay.
and keeping it really kind of true to history. And but it was great. They had her. She came back reincarnated, and I'm trying to think of the actress's name. Oh, I can see
I
her.
see this. They talk about Angela Bassett played her at one time.
Yes, yes, that was it. And
Oh,
she owned a hairstyling place
okay. Yeah, I see this. The real
right
story.
down. Had at one time, I guess, been like the house of, and it was
You know what? I'll check it
fascinating.
out.
It
I'll
was
check it
really
out.
cool.
If she's calling me right now, if I'm
It's
having this,
Kathy
because
Bates is in it. Yeah,
oh,
they did an excellent job, and they even had now I've got to think of her name. She's from Fleetwood Mac. What's her name?
Stevie.
That's Stevie.
Stevie Nicks.
Okay.
Oh, it
Yeah,
was
Stevie
Stevie Nicks. I
Nicks.
was like, I want to say Stevie Nicks, but I don't know Fleetwood Mac as
Yeah,
well as I
Stevie
should.
Nicks comes in as the head white witch.
Oh.
And there's a girl that lives out in the her name is Misty, and she lives out in the swamps, and they form a friendship, and she passes the shawl. It's very cool. And now my daughter and all her friends want shawls like Stevie Nicks, and I'm like, not until I get one. But
Let me get it
you
first.
know. Yeah,
Okay.
they did a wonderful job. So it is a little, true to the, American Horror Story. It's a little gruesome, and you got to have the guts to it, but keeping with the story and what Marie was capable of and why she did it. They she kind of sometimes when people talk about it, they kind of have like it was something mean and wicked
Yeah,
and
they
stuff, and it
vilify
wasn't.
her. It's not
Yeah,
like
and
that.
it wasn't. It was survival, and she was trying to take care of her family and protect her people, and they did a nice job of that.
Okay. Okay. I see the write up here. Okay.
It's one of those because one of the energies I think is really interesting. There's another YouTuber, Astro Tarot lady named she goes as True Brilliance,
Okay.
and she's talking about the dark feminine. It's not like it's a it's the divine feminine nature that doesn't have as much empathy, right?
Hmm.
So it's more. Mm, it's just a lot more powerful. It's a lot more seductive. It's a
Okay.
lot more inviting. So it's like the darker side of what you would think of Venus,
The
right?
darker
Where
side of
she,
Sears, but
Not the
the darker
softer
side.
people. Get it straight now.
Exactly. Well, I
well,
mean,
that would
it's
be
still
kind of
like
like
very
the
alluring,
Lilith,
but
and
cold. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
when
So
we
it's a
have
lot of
like
that
from
energies.
you know from the Bible, from Greek mythology, we have Lilith, we have um, all these other women that were um, what Hecate. I can't ever say her name.
Hecate.
Yeah,
Okay. Just
some of
breathing.
these that were extremely powerful, but they really didn't have that softer side, but they had the right motive. They
Mm.
just weren't, they didn't sugarcoat it.
Okay. And we're back.
So yeah, and that's so true. We do. We have a lot, and really, those are the ones matriarchal we look to. So many times when there's things going on, when you've
And
got a
when we're
choice of.
used to just being overly nurturing, overly empathetic, when you have to really cut kind of cords and stuff like that. The dark feminine knows how to draw that line and make it permanent so that you can understand that this has gone too far. This is no longer an access to me. You can still have whatever it is you need, but it is not coming from me or my energy. And
Mhm,
so she's giving those that weren't able to really set those boundaries. I could feel those boundaries coming through, or
Mm,
now I want to say the things that I wasn't willing to say before.
true.
Or if someone comes at me, and it's like, are you even aware that you're coming at me right now? Because you
mhm,
need to get corrected from your core behavior, because this whole belief that you can come off and do this is a no-go.
Yeah.
And so it's been winding up, but I feel like now I feel empowered enough to actually say this is a no-go,
mhm,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
even be vulnerable and say this is what I want, but I don't even know if I will let myself have it yet, right? And
Mm,
so now I'm being honest with myself about, oh, I'm not letting myself have it. Let's work on what the actual blocks are, or what the things that you've put as your self-setting limitations. Why do you
mhm,
even have those? And so even though you do this work, you have to keep doing it. I'm sorry, you just have to keep doing it until you've fully cleared that and etched in a new mental pattern, right? Because a lot of stuff comes automatically. We've rehearsed the negative thinking enough that it takes a lot of conscious effort to put it on a new path. But once the path is built and set up, it's a new path. And so I feel
mhm,
like it's a lot of stepping into that newness.
yeah. That every time you say something, I'm like, oh, and my thing cuts out. I don't hear it, but that's all right. I'll watch it and hear what you said then.
Oh, now
Okay,
she's
but
gonna watch it back. We gotta quit talking about her. No. She's gone. Let's say this. No.
Yeah. Mimi said I've been in masculine energy for the past month with this move, so my feminine took the back seat. Literally lifted two freezers with my mom. All right now, heavy boxes and assembled the desk. Yeah, yeah. Okay, and then I'm
But
also
sometimes
then
that doesn't have to be masculine. We have to think about that in the, yes, it seems like that's like a man's thing to do, but to have strength isn't a masculine trait. Physical strength isn't. Um, so it might have actually been more of standing in union with both your masculine and your feminine because you knew you needed to get it done. You knew what the outcome of it getting it done was going to be. And then you could also do the physical part, the heavy lifting, getting it done, doing it without getting hurt, that kind of thing. So I think it was actually not as much the feminine in the back seat as it was they were actually coming more together.
I'm with you on that. I think Mama did that too. I remember we was outside with the garbage, and I was like, "You did what with your two bags?" Any other time she talking about, "I can't even open up this top," and I'd be like, "Chip, like what's going on with your strength?" But she took two heavy, big old yard bags out
When
of that to the garbage, and she's like, "I felt your father." I remember, yeah, and I told her, I said, "What you doing?" I said, "Dad, and dropped into you because now you're off and gone with it." And then I'm like, "Okay." What's going on? And then when she came back, now I'm back in myself. I'm hurting. I said, yeah, you got to kind of temper that. So yeah, that has been happening quite a bit. A lot of the energetics of the blending. I'm in agreement with you, saying that again, it is them standing up in you. I've done some things too that the DM is like, okay, I need this. Like when I
Mm-hmm.
redid my room here, again, and I had this bookcase and I had to break it down. I didn't know, and I told him, okay, stand in and do it for me, through me. But I didn't think, like you're saying, that I was pretty much on the back seat of doing it. It was just us working in tandem. That's my new word. Working together. And so yeah, she's not in the back seat. She's there. Remember, divine feminine energy is what? To be and to observe. So she was observing what needed to be done again. And the divine masculine said, okay, honey, I got it. This is what you want to do. Okay, we got to move these two freezers. All right, let's do it. So, that's like the union. You have to think of it like that. We working together, just like in the physical thing. If you were together 3D and physical, you would tell them, honey, I need these two freezers to go. And, he's like, okay, you want me to do that? Yes, dear. Boom. So, that's us together working. So I'm in agreement with her with that saying. It's not that. And plus, again, we got to change that mindset. It's that not that separation consciousness that we are working together. So it's just, again, going like April said, it's the verbiage. Watch the way of how we're saying it so we can kind of keep ourselves together to understand that rather with the person or not, that we're working, our two energies within ourselves are working together as one.
There's
Okay.
my
you are
Hey,
sister. She made
hey
it.
you are
Tammy.
never late. You are whenever you are here is the perfect time.
Yes, Tammy.
Um,
Oh,
I've heard of women even picking up like cars and stuff to
Mm-hmm.
save
Oh yeah, the
children.
mother
It's like an
strength. If
automatic
their child is
survival.
underneath it or something. No, I have to. I can brag on Tammy. Now that is one woman that will get out and clear her back 40 and drag stumps around, and she works with her
All
husband in
right.
his shop, and she picks up, like, other women have come in and they can't even pick up the boxes of the parts that they're milling together, and here she is picking them up and hauling them around. And this is a woman that's got fused vertebrae in her neck, and they tell her to watch out because her L4 and L5, if she turns wrong, are going to rupture,
mm,
and she goes gung-ho.
right.
And
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Just as long as she's caring for herself, as
yeah, and
long as
she
she's
is. And
doing
but it's one of those things, and her husband knows when to step in and help and when not to worry about it. So
Right. Okay. That light body takes on over there.
hmm
About that.
and they're twins, so that has
Yeah.
a
Right.
lot of it. He
Then.
so their twin power is super strength.
Yes. Yes, they are.
Fix
Yep.
and
Wonder
fix it.
Twins activate. Yep.
Yes. 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 So that's a wonderful gift that you have that you can't draw on. It don't have to even be physical, mental too. You don't understand something, like, please, this is math. I ain't getting it. Please step in and help me out with this. All that kind of stuff that you can be able to use your counterpart for too as well. She said, "Oh shucks." Technical troubles. Yeah, it's going in and out on that too.
Yeah, they where they live, you know, outside of the farmland in there. They've been having issues for, I don't know, at least 3 years with the internet. It'll just off it'll go.
Okay.
Yeah, and she didn't work for 27 years. She stayed home with their son and stuff, and with the neck trouble and stuff, she hadn't worked in 27 years, and then
Oh
got
wow.
into working with her husband at his business. So she tough little mama.
Right. She tough little mama. All right then, and that's what we are kind of with the feminine energies too, as well, and where we are. It's a toughening too that's going on with us, and we getting sharpening, and we getting ready for some things that's coming up as we go. Yeah, I know with the Venus thing, I know it's over in around by February. So right now, if we're not seeing any kind of movement, right now we're just moving on, finishing up a lot of stuff that some garbage and things that maybe has kind of spilled over. What was it? I remember last year I talked about that. And they said that really the new year doesn't start now. It starts
February, March, the Lunar New
February,
Year.
March, yeah, the Looney, right, right. So this is like an extension of 2021. It's like we ain't hit 2022 yet. No, so we're still kind of working
Do
on
you know what I found out?
what.
Even Ethiopian, right? Because it's a yeah, I think it's a completely different calendar system.
Right.
But their New Year's Eve is on September the 11th, and their like society is even older than our society. So I think it's really interesting, like the timing of certain events.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we're really kind of getting into a point of clarity. Like when I'm extending from what we were talking about the week before, but we are because we didn't do New Year's Eve, but we talked about how there was a refinement of you can't really lie to yourself and things are
Yeah.
kind of coming to get clear. Now everyone's kind of getting clearer. And we haven't really gotten to the point of people really calling each other out yet. We're just kind of still letting lies filter out and seeing people for who they are, but
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
people haven't told them, oh, that part of you part is junk, right? Like that was, did you know that that is racist what you're doing right now? Like it's starting to slowly start to happen where people are saying, oh, I wasn't necessarily always the good person or always the good guy, right? Or maybe even this part of society or this part of the way I consume isn't actually sustainable or good for people. And
mm,
so that kind of stuff is coming out. And then also the whole giving yourself a little bit of a break. Like, yes, I know that there are other people that are starving somewhere, but just because I don't want to eat the rest of this thing on my plate doesn't mean I'm a bad person. You know, these are
right.
like really rough, broad analogies about certain concepts that have been taught to people, but it's like the falseness of the ideas of scarcity. Although,
Mm-hmm.
for those people who are really going through scarcity, creating spaces where you have to then trust the universe and things are coming through and showing up. And so there's a
Mm-hmm.
big split I had heard about through one of the astrologers that was talking about people and with all the different eclipses and Scorpio happenings and stuff this year, like a lot of people are showing the possessions. So people are now like, I'm actively being either possessed or I could see entities attempting to possess me or control my
Mm-hmm.
thought patterning. And it's not, they're no longer associating the negative thinking with this is me. And that's just how I think about myself. It's like, no, I've been arguing with this thing because now they realize it's not them. It's not arguing with yourself. You're like, no, I've been arguing with this to get rid of this thing for some time. Now how do I get it off? I mean, I've had more than one person show me a photo of something from the past, and it literally has they have an entity on them.
That's what
And
I'm.
now they're showing the pictures and stuff. Yeah, you were just saying that too, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's getting real interesting. This is going to be a real thin veil year. But
Mm-hmm.
unions are happening through the roof. So the more you choose to step in a union with yourself, the good, bad, and the ugly, and the sexy and the sweet, you know what I mean? The more you get into that, the faster you keep stepping into union.
Yeah, that veil is getting very thin. I was looking at something they had like houses and stuff like that, and I could have sworn I looked in the picture. I see if I can find that house that they had for sale, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I'm seeing a man from the '70s walking in the street, and it's this woman like literally running in front of him, and that's like, okay, I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at it, and I'm looking. And I was like, wait a second. I mean, you actually captured some spirit. I said, did they see this on this pic? So, it is really is getting very thin. Even when I'm walking around my talking about this house is haunted. Even when I'm walking around, even here, I'm seeing my two dogs that passed on. I mean, it's really thin. Really seeing them clear. Like, cause most time Butterball don't let you see her. But she's like, hey, how you doing? Good morning. I'm like, wait a second, did I? Oh Lord! So yeah, it really is thinning. I thinking they're saying their presence is needed right now. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a thinning of a veil. They're saying for support, things are happening and shifting.
It's the higher level veils too. It's not
Yeah,
the veils that we've been taught about at the beginning. The veil between the subconscious and the conscious is really where they were talking about the veils lifting. Now we're having veils lifting between ancestors, between guides, between angels and our realm. Where we're able to have more you know interaction with, be able to call on, and almost like have an instantaneous
right.
response, or quickly thereafter. None of this, you know like,
Aunt
I
Laters.
guess if Garth Brooks would have written that song about unanswered prayers, it wouldn't have been a big seller round, because we got them going like this.
True.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
God now would not only be like, no, I got something better, just watch, look, boof, there it is, thank you very much, now we're moving on.
Right.
And it becomes very, very clear.
Yeah. That and it is. It's like because I just was talking to my nephew and he was talking about he was asking about the situation and he was like, I just talked to my ancestor and said, can you just make it real plain to me about what's going on? And then in 5 minutes, I'm like, the spirit was like, do a card. Do a reading real quick. I'm like, why? I sent it to him. He's like, I just talked to my ancestor 5 minutes ago and said I needed an answer. And then bam, you send me this on the phone. So
Hmm.
it's just that instant, about what's going on, and you needing answers from your ancestors. They're right literally there, and the other one, the angels, and whatever higher power out of this realm, out of the 3D, too, uh, as well. I feel your eyes looking at me. What's going on, chick?
Well, and the other thing we
And,
have
and,
to.
and the animals are talking more. Wait, woo, Lord,
Oh
Yeah, they
my
I'm
are.
like,
Yeah, they
Lord,
yeah,
are.
they're talking.
they
I
talk.
didn't know birds talk so much shit. I thought they were just, half singing and no, but they are shit talking birds. All of them.
Hmm.
You
They're
think you
talking.
They're
talking smack? You have not heard bird posse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
I
talk.
mean, think about it. They sit up high above and they watch everything that goes on. They are the biggest group of gossipers, and will tell you what is going on. I have had, just this week alone, I've had a hawk circling the house and screaming in the mornings. Or he'll sit out on the back fence and I won't have my glasses on, and he scares the bejesus out of me because I'll take the dog out. And then all of a sudden he opens those wings. And I mean, the little guy, he's only about that tall, like, almost like a banty rooster of a hawk, chicken hawk, maybe. I don't know. And he opens those big wings, though, and then just screams. And he does a couple laps around the backyard screaming, and then he's gone. And then yesterday morning on my way to school, I had a beautiful fox run out in front of the car. and then stop on the side. And I was far enough back, so I saw him go across, and he stopped on the side of the road and looked at me like, "Are you coming?" And then he
What?
looked back at me again, and then he nodded and he took off in the underbrush. And I was like,
Beautiful.
"Okay,
Yeah,
yeah."
I had that experience one time. That's a couple of years ago. I don't know what that was, but I remember on the west side of Chicago. Now, Fox, you ain't gonna see on the west side of
Well,
Chicago,
unless
right?
it's around somebody's neck on part of their coat, but
Right, right. And that's what they was. And when I posted on Facebook, somebody said that's gonna be a nice coat for somebody, and I took a picture because I'm like, wait a second, what is this on the sidewalk here? And stopped in front of my car, looked at me too as well, and then shot on and went across. I know you're not about to run over me. And like, no. And I just looked at him and just went on over there. And that's when we had a lot of sightings of foxes that were coming from the forest. They were migrating from. We got like a suburb that's really literally like if you cross the street, you're on the other side of this into another suburb. It's Oak Park and then it's Austin. And so they literally you cross Austin, you're in Oak Park, which is a suburb of Chicago. And so they were saying a lot of them was migrating from those suburbs like that. But that was a freaky thing. I forgot what happened when I seen the fox though. But that's and that's it's a totem. That's interesting when you seen that, seen the hawk,
the
right
hawk
now.
and then the white owl.
Yeah.
And every time I've seen a bird, and the funniest thing is I'm terrified of birds. I'm absolutely terrified of birds.
Get out of here.
And but once again, owl, beautiful. I mean, he was a big owl, and white. And once again, opened the wings and didn't like come, I was in the car both times, but didn't like come toward the car, but just stood there, opened his wings, and smart aleck me, I was like, "Does Harry know where you are?" And do you have a letter? Am I going to Hogwarts, please? But and then he just sat there and he looked at me, and it was like those piercing eyes, and that's really what freaks me out the most about a bird is their eyes.
Oh.
But man, he locked stare with me, and I'm like, okay, I'm sitting on a back road in the middle of nowhere, and I'm,
Magical, magical owl.
I'm having a
Staring.
staring contest with an owl, and nobody's going to believe me. It's a white owl. So,
Wow.
and then after that, that's actually when the telepathy really started with the DM, and
Yeah, because
it just started that boom, boom, boom. Because then I said, hey, I saw a white owl the other night when I was driving for Uber, and he was like, really? And I'm like, yeah, it just stared at me. And then come to find out, he'd had that happen too.
Wow. Is that a glitch in the matrix? Like they see the cat and it's deja vu?
But yeah, I mean, it's but these animals have been, and then my dog, there are things in this house that she will sit and just stare up at the corners. Like a lot of the houses in Florida have those what they call plant shelves. I don't know, they ran out of drywall or something, and they
Okay.
made a little nook. But she'll sit there and she'll look up.
Yeah.
The
Who's
dog
that
doesn't
cow?
even bark when the doorbell rings. She'll bark if you don't share what you're eating. But you never hear a sound out of her. Now all of a sudden she's vocal. She'll be looking out the window in the middle of the
Yeah.
night. I'm like, Sassy, there's nothing out there.
Yeah, same thing here. Middle of the night,
I'm
I'm
like,
scared.
please, whoever you are,
No,
leave my dog
I've
alone.
been waking up. I've been waking up several times just in the middle of the night, and sometimes my son, except for that one day that I was telling you about before this, because they're in on the know. Maybe one day I'll have a story for you too. But that was the only night my son did not wake up throughout the night. He slept all night, but he's been waking up at that time. I get woken up at like 2:30, 3 in the morning. I'm just like, what is this? Because this is not the time I want to be awake right now, especially since I went to bed at like 12, 1:30. So I was running for a few days there where I had only had about 30 minutes of sleep. So it was
And
kind of
that's
just
that's
tripping
just
me out.
dangerous because then you're flipping that in between. I know I had to sit through a faculty meeting after a day like that, and I'm getting visions of purple shoes and things like that, and I'm like making notes in the margin of the book we're working in because I'm like, I know I got to look this stuff up. I can't pull my phone out and start looking out. What's the
Mm-hmm.
spiritual meaning of purple shoes? But yeah, it's and you know what? Younger people have been talking more about sleep paralysis.
Mm.
Mm.
And now, see, I know my girls have already gone through that. And because I'd say, they would tell me about being pinned down and not being able to move and not being able to scream. And I'm like, well, then why didn't you come get me? And they're like, once they left, I was scared to move. I wasn't, and
Yeah, I used to have a lot more sleep paralysis.
I did too when I
When
was little, and I had it one more time. I had it one time probably about a year ago, and I have not had it anymore. But
I was just sleeping the wrong way, like with the wrong type of bed or like bedding. Because if your neck gets pinched in a certain way, then your brain will wake up and your eyes will open, but you can't physically move your body until you've like somehow shifted it, but you can't consciously shift yourself. It's a very alarming state to be in. But what I was thinking about right now is even though I'm sleep deprived, you're still super hyper conscious, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's also one of those Native American passages, Native American, but indigenous people passages where you use sleep deprivation to communicate with spirit. So if
mhm.
spirit is like guiding you and putting you in this way, I'm not saying go out of your way to be in danger, but
I'm gonna
put
stay
yourself.
awake.
It's like
Oh
now
yeah,
that
I
I've
mean,
watched all of Emily in Paris, I guess what do I do now? Listen to spirit the whole time. You should have been listening to spirit
Right.
the whole time.
I've had it where like, and especially we've been drawing trees, so it's been like really soft music, so the kids are concentrating. We've been looking at pictures, and they're learning to sketch them, so we can go outside and do it. But the lights have been off because we do really light sketches, but so they can see. I'll tell you what, third time I've drawn the tree that day, I'm like, oh, I'm done with the tree. They're on their own, and I'm sitting there going, but and then there are other times I'll be just looking out at the class, eyes wide open, and I am nobody's home. I am not there. I am elsewhere.
Yeah, it's
So
been
yeah.
really interesting too because it's like almost being plugged in, and then parts of you are going through upgrading,
Hmm.
like either the mind or even the body. Sometimes I feel like my auric field is charged up lately, and like doing a feeling like I'm stuck in the Star Trek beam with the
Hmm.
with the
Beam me up,
upgrading.
Patty.
Hmm.
He makes a great point. She was talking about having the sleep paralysis and how she was terrified, and she said hers was years ago, and she said I felt some air go along my side of my bed during it too, and I have been getting that, not with the sleep paralysis, but just of things passing me
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
aren't there, or to anybody else. I mean, they're there to me. They're just not there to, and people walking through my classroom, and you know that I can tell the kids do not see. And yeah, so there has been a lot of that, and I really think ancestors and everybody are coming in, and we actually were talking before this that there is, especially for our generation and our age group, 30s and 40s, we were kind of still in that mindset of, even if parents' marriage wasn't forever, marriage was supposed to be forever. And we were kind of talking along the lines of why and how we're getting stuck in some of these karmic situations, and it being ego. And we've talked, kind of talked about the ego, and being, really fighting with that whole idea of this is supposed to be forever, because grandma and grandpa were married for 50 years, and they just stuck it out. Grandpa was an old so and so, but what else was grandma going to do? She got married at 14.
Right.
um but and that's not our generation, and we're having to break away from these things. And I think our ancestors are coming in to say, hey, that was not a perfect situation. We're here to help you move. We're here to help you move on. This was not a perfect situation. It was how it worked then. And, probably a lot of them would say to us, if I had it to do over again, if I could have, hit the bricks, I would.
Whatever. Right.
And, and my parents were married for 38 years. My mother was probably miserable for a good 15 of it. but that was, and she would tell me, I said, well, then why don't you just leave? Well, I never finished my degree. Your father wouldn't let me. And what kind of shame would I bring to the family? And she stayed.
Yeah.
And and then as I've learned, and especially when I first started with all the hypnotherapy and the life coaching, and then into the Reiki and energy healing and stuff, and knowing where your body holds those emotions, it makes so much sense, that she died of hereditary liver disease. Just the anger and the hatred, that she had been holding in for always having to be perfect. I
Mm,
think if it was said once in my house, a million times, that's not how a young lady acts, you know. And those
Yeah.
are these are the things that our generation is
true.
having to purge off of us to be free. And I think our ancestors are actually coming in saying, "Here, give me that." Yeah, I know I threw that on you, but let me help you get it off because we were wrong, or that's not for you. That's not your burden to carry. So I
Yeah.
think, like you guys have said, I think if we call them in, and I think some of the reason the veil's getting so thin is we've all started to learn that lovely phrase, make it clear, make it plain. You know, we
Right.
are the puppy planet. Let us tell it. Just show it to us. Don't give me a riddle inside of a riddle written in sand and Sanskrit. Just make it clear, make it plain. That's all I need.
Yeah, and plus it's needed to elevate it and go to the next level. If we're talking about these unions, this stuff has got to be off. We always say that. I always say, like the angels, the guides, the ancestors, the inner child. Those are extra tools and resources that we can use that we don't use. They help us to get a leg up on the situation. And by us use the ancestors in there again, they know us better than we know ourselves. Like I used to do the ancestor things. They've been there. They've been human, and they know the pitfalls and what's the challenges is to being human. And now they're on the other side and they can have a whole scope. My mom had said the other day, she said, "Yeah, I feel with your dad." She said, "Whatever he pretty much works out for us. Like if they say, okay, you got the green light, you can go fix and manipulate some things. We will." He's saying sometimes they'll tell them on the other side, you can't mess with that. That's their lesson to learn. And
Hmm.
he's like, okay. She said, but she said, I know your dad really takes it up to the fine line. Like, I gotta move this for and things. I'll talk about that when I have my testimony too about some things how he moved. And so I was like, yeah, that is true. If he can move it, and that's why you need your ancestors to call on to them, because like I said, they have some things that they're able to move and manipulate and say, here, of course we got free will, it's still our choice, but they're gonna be like, here, bam, there it is. Now it's up to you to take it. I done made a way, I done made arrangements, so it's for that. Or sometimes they kind of like really nudge you
Hmm.
into like, or they're like, oh, take your phone and show you things and say, okay, you see this? You didn't know that, did you? Okay, so I ain't like, why my phone on this pic? Oh, okay, all right. So now I know what's going on. So so they'll have their ways to be able to help you, and it's needed because they say it's a leveling up, and especially we want union for ourselves, and they want you to kind of clear up those bloodlines. They're
Hmm.
stepping in, because even I was watching the movie yesterday with Emmett Till, and they had that on ABC, and I was getting major triggered with that. I was like, I'm feeling all kind of ancestral stuff, and I was this morning crying about stuff, and I was like, where's this coming from? And I said, oh, this is all this bloodline stuff about this, what happened down in the South, and the slavery and the restrictions and doing all that stuff that you can't do, and how in some ways, again, I know with this COVID this panda stuff, whatever, that I'm getting triggered, because it feels like, it's like I feel like in my bones, in my DNA, I've been here and done this before, where I'm restricted. I can't say this, I can't do this, I can't go there, I can't do it, and it's feeling like, it's like, again, I wasn't there, but I could feel in my DNA and my bones from my ancestors, my roots, that say it's playing back over again, and that can cause for us to kind of trigger and to purge some of this stuff out that had happened back in ancestral time. and from not even just ancestors, if you can see galactical too as well. We had enslavement on different planets and things. So this is really deep what we're getting because I've heard even on other people's channel talking about galactical, they're talking about alien help. You know, if you go that deep.
I had a dream about people and cross alien babies.
Oh,
I was like, what?
yeah.
What? I thought they were doing one thing, and what they ended up doing, it's like, oh, I made a mistake, but it's a good thing you did because we just found all these half alien babies and all this other stuff. And I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now.
Uh-huh.
And then
Yeah.
I got up at 3 in the morning because Spirit had provided that space, and I had to sit there and contemplate about alien babies. So,
Okay, okay, let me think. Yeah, but you know, yeah. So all of that stuff. I mean, they just bring all of that stuff is getting really pushed out. You know, again, like they said, the other dimension of the world is here. The Aquarius, whatever age or whatever like that, and the golden age is here already. You know, and it's again we got to clear ourselves up so we can be able to be in it. I mean, to sustain is saying to be in it. You know, it's here, but some of us kind of drift in and drift out, drift in and drift out, drift in and drift out. And so, in
and
order
it,
for us to be able to stay there, we gotta you gotta get light, pack light, get all that stuff off of you, so you can be able to obtain that what that dimension, that frequency that it resonates on.
Hmm.
would you like, let's just ask, I'll put it out there, and maybe I'll do it next month, not this month, because I got a lot of stuff on my plate for this month. But an actual, because yoni steaming is a really good way to kind of biohack into the ancestral trauma. And my book is coming with two types of ancestral trauma healing through yoni steaming for those that were oppressed, and then that for those who were oppressors, right? Because some of us are coming in with mixed blood. So you got anger coming from both sides,
Yeah,
and you got remorse coming in from both sides. You've got a lot of sorrow, a lot of like
guilt,
guilt, and then also that
trauma, terrified.
hmm yeah, so there's a lot of healing that needs to be done. So I can do maybe like a pre-recorded and do a live um yoni steaming meditation that people can use in their own homes, because I really encourage doing your own home practice um, for people. So, do you guys think I should do that? Vote
I think
about it.
so. Yeah,
I think you should.
because I can tell you honestly, I've seen it with my girls. Just the difference in just the things that have gone through our family line in history, and then um, what they've then picked up from their dad's side that I don't do, but they have that. And being a family from the deep south, they have a lot of remorse, a lot of anger toward um, ancestors.
Mm,
And
mm.
so yeah, it doesn't, and it's every class, every society, every generation, everything has had this in one form or another. I mean, part of my family were pilgrims. I mean, we came over on the Mayflower, and I mean, if you realize a lot of that, we were so prudish that the English people didn't want us. They packed us all on a boat and sent us over to pretty much to die. They didn't. They are such sticks in the mud. Take them with their little gold buckles and send them away. Their little white aprons, and off we go. But then the other side of my family was royalty, and we
Right.
actually traced the line back to Queen Elizabeth now. And so we sent our own people away, and
Oh.
so it is a literally sent them to die. Just
Mm.
you don't run fast enough. You're sticking to mud. You're whatever. You're different. And we got so literally my own family sent my own family away. And then doing some research on my grandfather's side, we were tied up with the Salem witch trials.
Mm-hmm.
And our ancestor was one of the few men that were actually burned at the stake for it, and he was a
Wow.
Quaker. That
Oh.
whole stick in the mud thing was still going on, but Yeah. I know, and still, just think about it. If you guys have ever paid any attention when April mentions Freaky Friday and stuff like that, who's the first one to like get embarrassed and stuff?
Right.
The stick in the mud thing goes way back. I still,
Yeah.
no matter how much I have broken free of it, it's still, I embarrass very easily. I'm still very, and the DM loves that. He loves to make me blush.
Oh yeah, always, always, always,
So,
always. They do that. But yeah, I mean, like you say, the ancestors so much that you can, like you say, about the women understanding staying in
mhm,
divine masculine energies and how that kind of trips down to you as well as in there. I'm trying to see about my what I wasn't able to trace too much with moms, but I was able to trace a lot with dads all the way going back through ancestry.com, and he had a whole lot of um, uh, fleets captains of ships and stuff. Oh,
mhm,
blah, 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 from Scotland and stuff in England. So I mean, we come from leadership stock. You know that I know tough times to step in and what has to be done, but then at the same time, it's a kind of disconnect. And when it comes down even to through the women, it's kind of hard on his side to kind of turn it off and to go into that mothering and that nurturing side. So that's an interesting thing. Well, we got to kind of get rid of that. And if I go on both sides of them, again about really having a healthy relationship on both sides, mom and dad. So that's something I got to come in and clear up.
and that's something too that you might want to do with your mom is like that. What is it, 23andMe or whatever with the genetics? Since you couldn't go as far back, I'm
Right.
going to do that's one thing I'm going to do with my dad, and then I'm able to see which is my mom's side, even though she's passed, and then what did Daddy and I have in common,
Okay.
because we I can get as far as I think my third great grandfather, and then he was illegitimate, and so there's stories that went around the little village in Belgium that it was a Spanish soldier during the Spanish Belgium War,
Okay.
and then my grandfather was told, or no, my dad was told he was working in a factory in Illinois, and the small town where they all kind of migrated from Belgium, and was told that it was actually a local boy. So it's going to be interesting to see, are we fully Belgian or do we have Spanish in us? Where is this going? Because I'm like you, I can only get so
So
far.
far, yeah. 20
Because he
and
took
me.
on, yeah, it's where they do the mouth swab. But then, I
Yeah.
mean, they go as far as they have some crazy ones too. And it's like, they'll tell you that if you like eat asparagus, it'll smell in your urine kind of thing. But
Oh, okay.
but that talks about how food's broken down in your system too. And
Oh.
like genetically, are you prone to have boys that are bald, or these kind of things, and different genetic things too. So that's I think an interesting way to go. That's one thing. I mean, we're definitely Helen and I have talked about it, and she's interested in doing that just because of the scholarship, availability. So looking at scholarships, because there are so many scholarships that are left
Right.
unchosen every year. And they're ones that are like, I mean, literally, I kid you not, there are ones for, guys that are, if they're over 6 feet tall and have red hair and green eyes, there's a scholarship, $500, but for the next 4 years. So that's like $2,000.
Right. Oh. Okay.
If you're one that Helen's applying for, if you're ambidextrous, so you can write with both hands, and
Right.
taught yourself to do it, and she did. And you have to do a writing sample and all this kind of stuff and show how that you can do it. And it's, I don't know, it's like $700-800.
Wow. Get on out of here. That remind me, I know that's offbeat thing because sometimes in the classroom, if I'm writing something for the kid that's like across from me, I'll write upside down. And then one day I did it. I got dizzy and I started looking around and it was auras popping everywhere. I said, what did I just do to my brain? I don't know. Well, I just thought that's an offbeat thing for me to share, but I write upside down for the other child. So I thought that was interesting. My brain start seeing auras. Like I could really, like I activated something by doing it like that. So,
Mm-hmm. You
uh,
should try journaling that
oh yeah,
with the list. I just heard that with the list.
okay,
Um, we were talking about. I kind of back up and tell everybody else what we were talking about. We were talking about making a
okay,
list, and we talk about what our divine partners, what either upsets us, bothers us, maybe not what we have, whatever. And then, we are always supposed to look at our lives and say, where does this correlate? And instead, I took it a step further and then said, where do I do this to my partner? And so once I figured that out, I went on it and did like the subconscious writing and journaled with it on how do I fix it? What do I need to do to heal this? And literally, I'm not kidding, within 24 hours, there was one block that was just whew, gone. But that's your thing. When you journal that,
uh
write
huh,
it upside down.
okay. I'm on it. I can do that.
So you write the list upside down?
Mm. It's something with the way she writes upside down that triggers something in her brain. Like
Mm-hmm.
she was saying, she was seeing orbs and things like
I,
that. So
I
she's
mean, it was
tapping
pop.
into, yeah, she's tapping into a divine source. So
Okay.
that's what she needs to do as, like April, yours would be like music. Your answers are probably going to come to you through song or through lyrics you write. Um, because that seems to be like the way the divine talks to you.
Okay. I'm excited about that. Yeah, I sure did. I couldn't even
So,
see my kids around me. I said, oh my God, she's covered with this beautiful fuchsia pink. I like, oh my God, I can't see my little kid. I'm like, okay, okay. I turned around and looked at another kid. I'm teaching the math and I'm doing the numbers upside down. And I'm looking at him. I was like, oh my God, you're covered in yellow. I can't see. I can't see my kids. I'm starting to hit panic. I was like, okay, okay, calm down. So I can start seeing these kids for where they were. I said, okay, everybody go back to your desk because I was trying to get myself back together. But I mean, it was like I just couldn't. All I could see was just they turned into light, just
mm-hmm,
color.
I'll see
Wow.
if that does something too, because that sounds fun.
mm-hmm. It is. It's fascinating. I only had 5 things on my list, and it was looking at where things were. One, of course, being you know not being a priority. Other things got ahead of why. And then it dawned on me, everybody else, either the everybody that watches this channel definitely knows how I feel about my DM, and my DM doesn't know how I feel. And so, the other night I was like, okay, I'm gonna you just kind of take. I'm not taking a full leap of faith, but I'll take a little hop, a little hop. I'll kind of touch my toe in and see if it's not bit off by something. I'm good. I'm just gonna feel it out, and it was accepted and reciprocated back.
Okay.
But that's very odd, and I guess it's not odd. It's just kind of different. We have so many years, so there's a lot of we revert back to different times. We can go back to the little kids that can run around in the yard and scream and play and nudge each other and pull each other's hair, and that we're just being us. And then we can go into the whole teenager kind of stare into your eyes kind of thing. And then we can be in the adult where we talk about our kids and life and what we want and what we don't want and how do we handle and and accepting each other's advice and not blowing it off. So we have these different time spans that we kind of have to work through. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All righty. We at 113, lucky 13 again.
there we go, Mimi. That just for you, whole show just for you.
This whole show is for Mimi. It's dedicated to Mimi. It's broadcast. What they say. This is sponsored by Mimi.
Mimi's Moving Company. If you
Right,
need freezers moved, she's the gal to call.
right, there you go. So Mimi's what's she like? Mimi's fashion blog. And this is coming toward again. So and the number 13 is sponsored. Is there anything as we close out? Is there anything that you want to say about what you're doing here lately? What you're working on?
Well, it has been. Oh wait, you said Kathy
Oh no,
D.
go ahead.
My
Go ahead.
bad.
No, go ahead. No,
Go on.
I have a
go.
little boy chirping at me right now. Mom. Okay. I I thought I really had planned to be done with this book last month, but I'm gonna get done with it real quick here. So it'll be up for sale very very soon. Um, I'm having to reformat all these things because it's like the websites are going haywire, the social medias are like losing it, the traction. So I'm having to reassess and learn like a whole new system, and I think that that is kind of like also one of the themes of the year. So you know you're on mission, you know you're on point. You just got to roll with the redirections and trust that everything's going to work out. But this book is amazing. It's got a lot of the stuff that help you ease into those transitional like tower moments, and then using gifts from all of us. Because I haven't created a journal associated with this, I would heavily suggest you guys go get some journaling
Yes.
advice and how to set stuff up with our sweet Kathy D. So and for some divine intuitive insights, we got divine sunshine on the tap. But a lot of things opens up with the yoni steaming. A lot of healing goes through, and you really do need to have a team. I
Yeah.
know that we're in this, and we can sometimes feel very isolated, but we're not. So trust. The book will be out soon. The whole truth. I love you. I'm almost out.
It's so funny the way that light hits. It almost looked like her hand is transparent when she puts
Mm-hmm.
up. It looked like the. That's why you see me going like,
I
what?
know. I'm watching you, and then I saw her hand, and it's like
Right. That's like it looked
you can see
like she's
through it.
transparent.
Oh
I
man.
can see the blindness
Yeah.
of her hand.
I
Let me.
do have magic fingers.
I'm tripping
So
Lucy.
we've
I
heard.
dropped some acid. Oh.
I am like an acid trip on the beach. If you really do know me, you know nothing. You realize you know nothing at all. I've got to.
I'm mesmerized. Okay, I do a show? Is it over? Did we begin? No. All right, come on, Captain T.
I am rebranding my company. I will be going from being Pineapple Fish Life Coaching to we're rebranding the name to Pineapple Fish Wellness.
All right, now.
And that
You
is
got a
going
good
to
ring.
then encompass the Reiki, holistic, some of the holistic stuff, and the hypnotherapy and the coaching. Ultimately, my goal is to be able to then somehow work my way into a kind of either brick and mortar or online shop where it's kind of like health food holistic kind of stuff. And um so the health food holistic and metaphysical all together, so it'd be like a one-stop hippie shop. So um but yeah, that's the ultimate goal with it, where people can be in that space and do reiki and different healings, and open it up to more people, so and introduce more people to the healthier side of life. And we'll have a whole section with Miss April's face up there for her whole line of yoni steaming, and
Yeah, that's the ultimate. Yeah, that is the ultimate that would have a 22222.
mm-hmm.
That's the day I think I'll do the live, so we can get everybody prepped up
That'd be
by
nice.
222,
Yeah.
and then we'll do the live Yoni Steam energy work. And people can send in by then like any kind of things that they want me to kind of put in there, or and then I'll do some distance energy work and stuff. We'll make a real nice thing about it.
Okay, yeah,
So
do something to hit on that 22222. I forgot about the double numbers.
And
Uh,
that'll be a doubly important year, because that's what our day because of the year too. Is also that.
Right. Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, Let me see. I'm still doing the course for Seven Deadly Sins of Twin Flames. I forgot to get
Every little thing she does is
right, and so
magic.
yeah, everything you do is magic. Yeah, so it just turns me on. All right, anyway, back to what we said. That part I'm doing. I'm still holding the course there. You can join. I think we're on the fourth now class now, so we're at the halfway mark. So now it jumps up to 124. For that one, I haven't changed it on the site. So if I haven't, you benefited from it. It's still 77 dollars for that. So we got our last after this week. It just had 3 classes going on after that. So it's been great. Make sure you go to divineunitsouls11.co for that. If you want to do past life regression sessions, I'm always still available. Hit me up on divine unit souls 11 at gmail.com if you want to take advantage of the 144 special as well. Always here available for readings too. You go to divine unit souls 11 for that .co for that too as well. So that's pretty much it going on with me as well. So that's what you do if you want any of that good stuff. And like we said, and we do still. We have not taken down the package where you can use all of our powers, all of our talents, skills, and abilities. And that's also on divineunitsocial11.co if you want a session with all three of us helping you because it's power in numbers. Da-dum-dum. All right, get us on out of here. All right, Kathy D.
All right. So make sure that you empty your virtual shoes and socks of all the sand. Make sure that you get all your own sand toys back. Clean up all your virtual trash from around the sandbox. And we are wishing you the best life ever. See you real soon.
All right, and April Williams.
Stay blessed, stay golden, and remember, you were made for this golden life.
All right, then. And as always, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascended. Namaste. Nama go. All right, then. Until next time, we will see you on the playground. All right, then. And we